Hi and welcome back. I was going to kind of vlog my Botox injections and like the process to getting into the hospital and to London, things like that, just within part of the normal weekly vlogs. Sorry, my arm's hurting. And then I was thinking about it last night. So it is the 21st of September today. My injections are the 22nd of October. And I was starting to think of the logistics of getting a lease in and sort of having to book my train ahead of time. And I was starting to get worried that we wouldn't be able to stick to social distancing rules while also getting my Botox done. I've checked them. We can stick with social distancing rules, but I thought it'd be really interesting to make this process of sort of all of the planning to get down to London to make everyone safe, or as safe as possible. I thought it'd be interesting to have its own video. So that's what you're getting. So the current guidelines, and I'm reading this from the government's own Meeting with Others Safely document, which was updated on the 4th of September. And it says that it may not always be possible or practical to maintain social distancing when providing care to a young child, which would be Elise, or person with a disability or health condition, which would be me. You should still limit close contact as much as possible when providing these types of care. So that means that at least at the moment, within social distancing rules, I can go down to London for my Botox injections. My mum can meet me and have Elise while I go into the hospital. The hospital are only letting the individual having treatment into the hospital. And obviously I can't leave Elise at home on her own. And Dan can't get time off because he is a key worker. And while my mum is also a key worker, she is more easily able to get that time off. So that's been really reassuring because I was starting to get very concerned. I will keep checking back to see if that's changed. I'm not sure when to start kind of booking my train. I think maybe a month ahead is a bit too early, but I need to start thinking about it and maybe check out the timetables, because ideally I want to be in London with enough time that if something goes wrong on my journey, which is fairly likely because of being a wheelchair user, and there are generally some accessibility issues, particularly with the London train station that I need to go into, but also not being so early that we're just hanging around London, because then we're not minimising our contact with other people. My last Botox injections were in January. They're supposed to be done every 3 months, but the clinic is oversubscribed, so they're every 4 months. So I should have had them done in May, and the clinic was cancelled. I was given a new date of October the 22nd. So I've been without for May, June, July, August, September, 4 months so far. By the time I have the injections, it would be 5 months. And that's assuming that the clinic is able to run. My migraine has definitely deteriorated. My pain level has deteriorated. And you've probably noticed in some of my vlogs, if you've watched any of my other videos, that my word finding difficulties are more pronounced. Fatigue is higher. Yeah, and that's largely because I've not been able to have this treatment. I've also put a lot of things in place that have restricted us quite a lot. So I've been avoiding buildings with fluorescent lighting because that will make it worse. I've been limiting my screen time because too much of that will make it worse too quickly. So I've been putting a lot of things in place, and I've managed to kind of keep it a slow deterioration, but there has definitely been deterioration going on, and particularly going into winter when lighting, which is my biggest issue with my migraines, is more pronounced, because the days are darker than night, so you need lighting on, and then there's Christmas and everything gets flashy, and I really need to have these injections sooner rather than later. I'm really glad that, at least fingers crossed, I'm going to be able to have my Botox injections before the most difficult time of the year for me. I think it's still going to be more difficult than normal because I've got to make up and get back to where I was before this deterioration. But yeah, fingers crossed it goes ahead. So it is Monday the 28th of September, and I've decided that it's probably a good idea to order my train ticket now for my Botox injections, which you'll know because you're watching this Botox vlog. So I've had a look, I've worked out what train I need to get, and I've then looked to find out where I need to book assistance. National Rail says that I can contact Passenger Assist, and then it gives the number, and I've just phoned them and they've told me that they're not the people to speak to, and they've told me I need to go directly to the train provider that I'll be using. They have given me that number, but it's really stressful. It's like going around the houses, and this is part of why I don't book in advance. And I know this is the pandemic, different situation, but it's just, why is it not simple? Why is it not, here's your number, off you go. Urgh. So here we go. Assisted travel, contact Passenger Assist, and there's the number.
The number you have called is not recognised. Please check the number and dial again.
Well, that was hard work, but I spoke to two really nice people who have, between them, sorted out a plan. It's really hard to do train bookings when it's for a hospital appointment because you never know when you're going to come home. And particularly at the moment, I know how important it is that the railway companies have a booking so they can make sure everything's in place, so that I can actually get on and off the train safely in terms of pandemic stuff. So yeah, that is now done. It is now Thursday, the 8th of October. It's 2 weeks until my Botox injections, which means it's the start of Elise and me self-isolating. So the only person we'll be coming into contact with is Dan, who is actually a little bit of a risk to us anyway because he is a teacher. And at the moment, children have to self-distance from teachers, but they don't have to self-distance from each other. So there's still a bit of a risk there. It's being minimised as much as possible. My hospital and medical team haven't specified that we need to self-isolate, but for me, because these injections are so important, I think it'd be silly for me to kind of just go to the park with the risks that Elise could touch something and get infected and pass it on to me, and I could then end up having to miss my injections if I became ill. And not just in terms of COVID-19, but if I get a cold, they won't have me in the clinic. So while there are other possibilities and possible reasons that the appointment and the clinic might have to be cancelled and postponed, I want to give myself the best chance of being able to make it. So I'm going to minimise the risks of that happening by self-isolating for the 2 weeks leading up. It is Monday the 19th of October. I've just sent my headache diary through to my consultant. My appointment letter said to send through a copy, either photograph or scan, of our headache diaries. I keep saying our, so I'm assuming that everyone else has got the same letter. Yeah, tired, brain's struggling to find words, really need these Botox injections. Yeah, so that is now done. Last week I wasn't well enough to film, but Dan had requested this Thursday off work. So because of the risks of me going down on a train to London, not just in terms of me being high risk with COVID-19, but also in terms of me being under artificial lighting, having not had my Botox treatment for quite a while. There are a lot of risks involved, and it was great that he's been able to ask for that time off, and it's been granted. So I cancelled my train access. Oh, goodness words. I cancelled my train assistance. There we go. I've been getting really anxious, and I didn't realise it until Dan sort of mentioned that maybe I was getting becoming a little bit on edge about my appointment on Thursday. Not the appointment itself, but I've been feeling on edge that it might be cancelled. I think we're at the point now where if it was going to be cancelled because of kind of general location, lockdowns, things like that, it would have been done. So as long as my consultant and I don't get ill, it should be going ahead. To try and alleviate some of that anxiety, and also to have something to look forward to, because Elise and I have been self-isolating. The only person we've seen is Dan. Yeah, we need something to look forward to. So I have started creating a little bit of a treat bag for us for the journey, and we're kind of trying to make it into a fun road trip, get Elise really excited about it. It is Wednesday, the 21st of October. It's the day before my Botox injection appointment, and I can't quite believe that we've actually made it to this point. And I'm really glad we've been able to keep my migraines as controlled as we have. Things could have gotten a lot worse. I am just waiting for a phone call from the hospital. They have a screening test just to make sure that everyone who's coming into the hospital is fit and well to do so, to reduce the risk of spreading COVID-19. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm waiting for, really. And then I've just got a few bits to gather together, get ready for our road trip to London tomorrow. It's 1:30 and I've had my screening call. It was my consultant who phoned, which I wasn't expecting. I was starting to get more and more anxious from about 1 o'clock. Yeah, because all of a sudden, now that phone call's done, I feel fine again. Yeah, so basic questions just to check that I don't have any symptoms and haven't come into contact with anyone who is a confirmed case. Yeah, so we're all good to go for tomorrow. A few little bits of information about what's going to happen when I arrive to the hospital. Reception are going to do some checks and go through the same questions, and it's only going to be me who can go in. But otherwise, yeah, short phone call, all good. I can relax now, it's going ahead. And we're off. We left at 11:15, which was a little earlier than we anticipated. Had loads more time than I thought to get ready. I just hope I've not forgotten anything. Yeah, we've just stopped at the petrol station. Elise is happy, she's got a film on, and we're ready for our road trip. It's now Friday, the 23rd of October. Botox is done. You might be able to see a few small marks on my head where there are injection sites. Yeah, wow. I didn't realise how anxious I was becoming about this appointment. Just in terms of the potential for it to be postponed further if I'd got ill, if my consultant was ill, or just if things kind of got to the point where additional measures needed to be put in place, like the full lockdown. And I'm pretty sure that the clinic has kind of got things in place that they could handle that now if it were to happen and still run the clinic, but it was still playing in the back of my mind. So I'm feeling really relieved now, more than again, because I'm feeling really relieved and I feel like myself again. I didn't realise how bad things were getting until I feel better. Yeah. Something I find quite a lot, and particularly in terms of chronic illnesses, is that I don't realise how bad things have got or how much things are affecting me until they've improved. So despite leaving loads of time to travel down, we ended up late for the appointment, only about 10 minutes. I had to check in with reception, who couldn't find my name, which delayed things further. And then when I got up to the day stay outpatients area, I had to fill in a 2-page form, which it was just the basic questions. Have you come into contact with anyone who's a confirmed case? Have you had a temperature? And the nurse took my temperature with some kind of non-contact machine, which was quite cool. Then I had my appointment. The appointment went well. My consultant threw me a curveball, which he seems to, every appointment, there's always something that hits me totally out of the blue. And this time it was about a newish medication that's certainly new to the NHS, that is hopefully going to be available in the not too distant future, as an alternative to Botox. So we had a conversation about that. I don't feel now is the right time to try and start something else, and now is certainly not the right time for me to be pushing my Botox or whatever treatment back even further. I was the only one allowed into the hospital, so Dan and Elise just kind of drove around the square for a bit because parking is quite a challenge. And then we came home. We stopped off at the services for a comfort break, had some food. Yeah, it was a very long day. It was tiring, but it was very much worth it. So it was a bit of a bizarre experience, but actually at the moment everything is a bizarre experience. I felt safe in the hospital at all times. It was really interesting watching my consultant drawing up the injections, because normally they're brought into him on a tray by one of the nurses, but they've removed that element so that it's one less person coming into contact with consultant and patient. It was a long day, so I'm now quite tired, but I can feel like a tingling from the Botox working. So thank you very much for watching. I will leave links around somewhere about Botox as a treatment for chronic migraine and how I've found it helpful. If you've got any questions about Botox treatment for chronic migraine, let me know in the comments. I will do my best to answer as fully as I possibly can. And I think that just leaves me to say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in another vlog. Bye.